Developing today, Queen Camilla's absence from that bombshell meeting between Prince Harry and King Charles, which was long confused because some sources believe she was there, was because she has told the king that she will not forgive either Prince Harry or Meghan Markle. And can you blame her after the way that they presented her as some type of wicked stepmother? So we're going to get analysis on this from P-Dina in just one moment. But the exclusive reporting from Shooter Scoop, the royal insider, who writes, Queen Camilla refuses to forgive Harry. The wounds are too deep. With palace insiders telling Shooter Scoop that Queen Camilla has no plans to forgive her stepson anytime soon. She will not forget the things Harry said about her in Spare, a senior courtier insists. He called her dangerous, the villain, and accused her of trading family secrets for press favors. Those words cut very deeply. Camilla doesn't forgive easily, and she won't hear. While Charles recently granted Harry a rare private audience at Clarence House, sources say Camilla remains the biggest obstacle to reconciliation. Harry has been extremely unkind to her, another insider says. For Camilla, it's not just gossip, it's betrayal. In his memoir, Harry claimed Camilla played the long game to secure the crown, even likening meeting her to an injection you don't feel if you keep your eyes closed. The accusations reportedly left her hurt and scarred. Now, even as Harry insists his conscience is clear, Palisades warn that Camilla has a memory like steel. The royal family make elephants look like they have short memories, one source quipped. Camilla won't simply smile and move on. P-Dina, this is absolutely fascinating reporting. Do you remember during that first meeting between Harry and King Charles, after it was announced that he was suffering from this very bad form of cancer, Camilla was in the room. And she was in the room in part because Charles will never be alone with Harry, because he doesn't trust the fact that Harry won't misrepresent what is said in meetings. But she was also in the room because she needed to get Harry out of the room as quickly as possible. She was there to ensure that this was a very, very short meeting. This time, P-Dina, and I know there have been mixed reports on this, but my understanding is that there was someone else in the room, but it wasn't Camilla. And her position towards Harry, and not just Harry, also Meghan Markle, has hardened in recent months. Is she right? And what do you make of it?
So, okay, so the king was in the room with someone else and it was not Camilla? Is
That
that what
is
you said?
my understanding. So there have been mixed reports that Camilla may have been in the room. She was first time around. But my
Right.
understanding is that there was someone else in the room, because one thing I know for a fact is that that King Charles will never be alone with Prince Harry. He will never be alone with Prince Harry,
Mhm.
simply because there is such a fear that Harry could misrepresent something that was said in the meeting and it could cause a constitutional crisis. So my belief
Mm.
is that there was someone else in the room. It may well have been his private secretary, Clive Alderton. That has not been confirmed. But
Mhm.
I guess what's more interesting to me is just this idea of Camilla really hardening her stance on Harry and Meghan at a time when Charles seems to be doing the opposite.
Yeah. Well, I just think Camilla's just going to keep it real. She's going to keep it real. She's never going to allow this to go beyond this simple meeting, and there's not going to be any coming back. There, I mean, there was talk about that, and this other person being in the room, I think, just shows that the king is being protected, no matter how he may drop his stance on how he feels or he should feel about Harry. He's always going to have that soft spot for Harry, and they're going to ensure that the king is never going to be alone. He's going to always have that protection, and there's only so much that Harry will ever be able to do. He does not have a direct line anymore. I think it's a clear message that Harry, while we will allow you to see the king, this is not going to be an ongoing thing. It's not going to represent you coming back. It's not going to represent you being a part of this family in the way that you envision yourself being a part of this family. And I think it just sets the tone, the message for what it is going to look like, what that relationship will be like in the future. It's never you and your papa alone together, intimate moments. They're always going to be monitored, and you have some way to come back in, but still, in reality, you are still on the outside. And I think that's the picture that they are painting and making it very clear to Harry. It doesn't go any further than this. And I think that's exactly what they have to do. Because I'm sure Harry thinks this is the beginning of a great future with my family. Because I think didn't he say something about like coming back every year or this being very important for me now, going to see my father, having a relationship with my children. I think Harry is like going off to Disneyland in his thoughts. Like, okay, it's time to get back together with my family. But they're telling him, oh no, this is not what it's going to be. And that's what we're seeing right now with that. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. And I mean, it's very interesting, P-Dina, isn't it, when you look at the overall splits that currently exist within the family? Because it might be a surprise to many, but Camilla is actually much more closely aligned here with William and Catherine than she is her husband. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Well, yeah, I think so, only because she sees how Harry and Meghan are and she wants to show she is closer to them. I think there were problems in the beginning, I thought, with Camilla and Catherine. But I don't know what that relationship is like, to be quite honest, Dan. I just think that she knows she has to align herself with those who are there. And Harry and Meghan are nowhere a part of this family, and as far as she is concerned. But yeah, I think we're seeing that how it's going to be moving forward, and the family is doing well, and they're not even they have no worries about uh, Harry and Meghan. Not at all. They feel like their lives are meaningless, they're not relevant, and they're going to keep them on the outside, no matter what Harry thinks his future is going to be with his family. And I think Camilla is that constant reminder of that. Because if we didn't have Camilla, imagine what the king would do. Imagine what his influence might be. I mean, and the courtiers, who, maybe his private secretary is there to kind of, work with Camilla to ensure that what she wants happens. We have to always look at what her influence is on those that are around the king. So we have to look at her as being somebody who's really going to hold it down in a way that's going to help, I think, William and Catherine. That's because their bond, I think, has strengthened over time.
Shooter Scoop is a really interesting new royal source out of America, P-Dina, because Rob Shooter has this close relationship with many royal insiders, given he used to work within the royal family. He has a really interesting take on what is actually going on with the royal family and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And he believes they're actually being erased. Let me take you through this reporting. It's really interesting, actually. So he writes, I work for the royal family. When you embarrass them, they erase you. And he says, I didn't read about it in a book. I didn't hear it from a palace insider. I lived it. And in this article, P-Dina, he writes, I work for the British royal family representing Princess Michael of Kent during what turned out to be one of the most turbulent chapters of her public life. I saw firsthand how the firm handles embarrassment, controversy, and perceived betrayal. Let me tell you, they don't scream, shout, or engage. They erase. That's the fate now facing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They're not being punished with public condemnation or angry statements. That would be too obvious, too emotional, too loud. The palace prefers something far more chilling: silence. When I worked for Princess Michael, she found herself at the center of a racial firestorm after a comment she reportedly made at a New York City restaurant went global. The backlash was swift, and so was the palace's response. There was no drawn-out debate, No PR war. She was quietly sidelined. Our working relationship ended, and the monarchy, it moved on, as if the scandal and she had never existed. That's how the royal family handles trouble. And that's exactly how they're handling Harry and Meghan. Behind the scenes, the gates have already closed. Harry and Meghan are no longer viewed as wayward royals in need of a timeout. They're considered liabilities, risks, people whose next public move is as unpredictable as their last and whose presence threatens the very thing the monarchy values most: control. When the Sussexes left their roles as senior royals, they insisted they weren't abandoning the family, just reshaping their place in it. But what followed wasn't respectful distance, it was a campaign. A series of interviews, documentaries, and bestsellers that laid bare the inner workings of a famously private institution, and in doing so, they crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. From the Oprah interview to Spare, Harry and Meghan revealed private conversations, accused unnamed family members of racism, and portrayed the palace as cold, outdated, and indifferent to their struggles. That might win sympathy in Hollywood, but inside the palace, it amounted to heresy. The royal family doesn't issue cease and desist letters. They don't send angry tweets. They simply stop talking about you. You become persona non grata, not in name, but in practice. That's why the dream of a royal reconciliation is just that, a dream. King Charles may still love his son, but he also wears the crown, and the crown is bigger than any one person. William, once Harry's closest ally, is now estranged. Camilla, painted cruelly in Spare, remains furious, and the courtiers, the ones who actually run the show, have made it clear there's no path back. Even Queen Elizabeth II, known for her restraint and warmth, drew a firm boundary when she stripped the couple of their patronages. That was not a temporary rebuke, it was a structural reset. Well, what most people don't understand is that the monarchy isn't just family, it's a system, a machine. And like any machine, when a part stops working, it's replaced, not repaired. I saw that happen, and I know exactly what it looks like when the palace decides you're more trouble than you're worth. The Sussexes will still be invited to funerals and landmark occasions, not because they're welcome, but because they're useful. Their presence signals unity, even if it's a performance. But those moments aren't about healing, they're about optics. Harry and Meghan chose independence. That decision gave them freedom, money, and global platforms, but also came at a cost: the loss of trust. And in royal life, once trust is broken, it's never restored. The most powerful message the monarchy can send isn't a statement, it's absence. So don't wait for a public apology or royal embrace. The family won't slam the door, they'll just stop opening it. Because when you embarrass the royal family, they don't exile you to Siberia. They pretend you were never in the room. Now, P-Dina, I found that reporting from Rob Shooter incredibly interesting because, of course, he was working for Princess Michael of Kent during that scandal, and she did never come back. She did never return to any real form of public life. And I think it provides a real counterweight, what Shooter Scoop is reporting, to the mainstream media and the royal rota in the United Kingdom, which are so desperate to talk up this return of a reunion. Who do you think's right?
Well, I think this is exactly what is going to happen. We already see it happening, and you see how the press and Harry are trying to say it's going to be more than what the monarchy thinks or what they usually do. They kind of just silently close the door on you. But Harry doesn't see it that way. He thinks he is going to be back in a very big way with the children and even maybe Meghan, I think, occasionally. And I find that Harry is just continuing to live in delusion, to live in a world that's not real. He has a false perception on what is going to happen. And I think the optics are very important. We're going to see it as if they're getting along. There's nothing wrong with Harry and Meghan from the monarchy's standpoint. But underlining all of that is going to be a family Harry and Meghan are no longer going to be a part of. They are edged out for good. And I think that could lead to problems because they're going to always want more than what they're given by the monarchy. And that's the problem, I think, that's what's going to happen, I believe, with the monarchy, because Harry and Meghan are going to keep trying to push those boundaries that they're never going to allow to open up the monarchy, because Meghan and Harry still need to make money. They still have a brand. They still need to have a good connection to being royalty, but they're never going to have that as far as William is concerned. I mean, I think the king is done something that gives him a little bit of, grace around this relationship, but he has people around him controlling things. So I think things are going to be very difficult for the monarchy trying to even give them this occasional, you know, funerals or weddings where they can come to, because Meghan and Harry are going to always push the boundary. I mean, look what Harry just did with this article. There's always going to be something that they're going to do. As long as you allow Harry and Meghan some kind of connection, they're going to keep testing and pushing. When they don't get what they want, they're going to say things, they're going to make up lies, maybe even sell stories, a little bit that they have to make money. I mean, isn't that what happened with this article with Harry? I mean, he needed to make money. I'm sure he got paid, for doing that story, having that story put out. So it's like you're seeing something that is never going to be what the monarchy envisions it to be, because Harry and Meghan can't be trusted. They're going to always test the family, and this is not going to end well for I think Harry in the long run. Like I said, he has to be away from that woman. And as long as he's still with her, there are going to be problems with Harry and Meghan and this relationship with the monarchy. Okay.
Yeah,
The queen, there has to be Harry has to be cut off from Meghan, you know, to
indeed,
try to move
because
forward.
P-Dina, I
Mm.
mean, gosh, we saw a couple of quite shocking things this week, which again were somewhat overshadowed because, there was so much going on. The funeral of
Mhm.
the Duchess of Kent, the Donald Trump state visit. But what did you make of Harry and Meghan literally selling themselves now for an infomercial for Disneyland? Before I get your reaction, let me just play. It was only the trailer that was released, but this is a big ABC special. ABC, of course, owned by Disney. Watch this. But first, as I've entered my 40s, aging has become ever present in my life. My body doesn't back up the way it used to, and I've found that it's far easier to get injured when trying to work out, far harder to recover too. But I believe one of the best aging breakthroughs of the last decade is qualia senolytic. And I'm going to explain why. Senolytics are a science field revolutionizing human aging. A big culprit behind that middle-aged feeling can be so-called zombie cells that linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and resources. Now, those zombie cells can lead to less energy, slower workout recovery, joint discomfort, and basically feeling old. Now, qualia senolytic is a groundbreaking, clinically tested supplement with 9 vegan plant-derived compounds that help your body naturally eliminate these zombie cells, helping you feel years younger in just months. But here's what I absolutely love about this product. You take it just 2 days a month, helping your body naturally eliminate zombie cells to age better at the cellular level. Now, since taking qualia senolytic, I've felt like I've turned back the clock. I have higher energy, less soreness after exercise, and a big boost in productivity too. That all equals feeling so much better. So experience the science of feeling younger by going to qualialife.com/Dan for up to 50% off your purchase. Use the code DAN, that's DAN, for an additional 15%. So that's QUALIA life.com/Dan for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And by the way, thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get back to it.
It was one of my favorite things.
Still one of your favorite rides, by the way.
And then, so they're talking about Space Mountain, and then they feature alongside other sort of celebrities in this trailer and execs.
Wonder of all the magic.
They don't call it the happiest place on earth for no reason.
Prepare yourself.
We were just so
You're about
lucky.
to be blown away.
The surprises and secrets. The history and heart of Disneyland.
I can't even finish a sentence right now. I'm so excited.
Disneyland taught me how to dream.
The happiest story on earth. 70 years of Disneyland. Sunday, September 21st.
And P-Dina, all of a sudden it made sense why they had posted those pictures on Instagram earlier in the year visiting Disneyland. But again, I don't think enough people are asking questions about this. I mean, it's like, so what, now they're free from the Netflix deal, I guess they can take this coin from Disney and from ABC. They probably consider it safe, safe money, but it's still exactly where the royal family never wanted to end up, which is two people trading off their royalty to effectively back commercial organizations.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what we saw when Harry was trying to pimp Meghan out for voiceover work with Bob Iger right there in the commercial there. And it just, look, they're going to continue to do it because they have to. This is just a signal, I think, to especially William, that they cannot be trusted. They're going to continually try to make money commercially. They have to because of the lifestyle that they want to live. And at some point, it's going to run out. It's going to run dry for Harry. And because I think Meghan is always going to keep trying for more and more deals. She's going to keep trying to do things that are going to go against, the optics things for the monarchy, because that's what her life is now. She wants to be this person that's, doing things commercially in Hollywood to make her money, to help her brand with whatever it is that she's going to try to do. And Harry has to go along with it because he's the husband, right? So he has to do it. So, you cannot trust Harry for one moment because Meghan is in his ear constantly. Like I said, this is a relationship that is not built on trying to do the right thing by the monarchy. Why? Because they have to make money and Meghan is still around. Okay. And I think the more the monarchy shows Harry, you are nowhere near coming back into this family because you are still with that woman. That's the message they have to send, right? Because this is just a sign of what is going to come in the future. Whoever tries to align with Harry and Meghan is going to be a commercial deal to help them to make money. And that's never going to be good to the monarchy. That's not going to be what they're about, and I think it's going to just get worse and worse for Harry. The more he tries to do things with Meghan, the worse his relationship is going to be with his family. And then hopefully at some point he'll start getting the message that, hey, look, the problem really is my wife. She's the reason why I'm in this position right now. Because Harry, let's not forget, still thinks that he is going to have more opportunities to be within his family, going back home. That's what was said. And so he thinks he can still have this half foot in, half foot out model, and it's going to be okay. He finally won. He feels that way, I think. Yeah, so it's just something that is just not going to turn out well for Harry. At the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a disaster for Harry because I think the monarchy is going to definitely keep pushing back, especially once William is in charge. The Harry, what you thought was going to be your situation, yeah, you thought wrong because you're still with that woman.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen, Dan.
I mean, yeah, because Harry also believes that William is going to forgive him at some point too.
Yeah,
he
of course.
lives in a world of total delusion. P-Dina, arguably, the most important news of the week was bad news for the British monarchy. New polling showing support for the monarchy in the United Kingdom has hit a record low. Lots of discussion about why. What has caused this? Here's what some of our friends have said, P-Dina. According to Taz, wrote, with King Charles supporting the World Economic Forum, showing support for Keir Starmer and mentioning Islam at every opportunity, even on Christian holidays, I'm not surprised. Add in the new meeting with Prince Harry, it will only decline. Lee Cohen, who's over in America, but, a massive supporter of the royal family, wrote, as a monarchist, this saddens me profoundly, but I hope the palace is listening. Frankly, I think the decision to consider reconciling with Prince Harry is catastrophic and could figure into the reasons behind the plunge in public opinion. And the Royal News Network said, I can't say I'm completely surprised. The younger generations aren't as interested in the monarchy. That will change with time, but the question is, can the monarchy survive until then? So, P-Dina, a very negative picture being painted even by people who are massive supporters of the monarchy. Why do you think these poll ratings have plummeted?
Well, I think it's true. I think a lot of young people just do not feel the monarchy is relevant anymore in their lives. I think it's just showing that the era of what it used to be is not moving forward with the newer generation. And also, Harry and Meghan are trying to be the ones that relate to the younger generation. And I think this is why you need Catherine and William so much more prevalent to represent the monarchy now, because they can give Harry and Meghan the competition that they need, because it makes the monarchy more closely aligned with younger people when you see people like Catherine and William. They need to really be more of the face of the monarchy to keep people, especially the young people, more aligned with the work that they're doing, because people just don't relate to, what the king represent. I'm sorry, it's just why I think why the polls have gone so down, because the king is not someone that as in Camilla, for that matter, the queen, are able to really get the voices of the young people to be more aligned with the monarchy. It just seems like you have to show William and Catherine. And when you don't have them more prevalent, I think, I mean, here, which is great, and maybe that's why you see them with Trump right here, but I think the king and Camilla are just not relatable to the young people. And that's part of the problem. And Meghan and Harry are. They have a lot of the young people that they reach out to. They're trying to be more aligned with younger people, especially now with this Disneyland, right? That's more aligned with younger people. So it's one of those things where you just have to really show that the future has to be William and Catherine immediately. I think it's an emergency. You need to put them out front way more, because young people are just not relating to what the typical monarchy stands for. And also the children of Catherine and William, getting them out there more, showing their role. And I think they've been doing that subtly, but I think even more so they have to, because the king right now, um, especially with his choices, the things that he's making, his decisions are just not good ones to really keep the popularity up. A lot of things that he's done have not been popular. And so the popularity of the monarchy really needs to have this fresh, young look to it. And people love William and Catherine. I mean, you have the crowds that they command when they go anywhere. I mean, I'm hoping that they come to the States soon. I think that they are going to be doing that. They need to be more in, around, even with young people, doing a lot of things. And William's doing great with the Earthshot Prize Award. Like that's, motivated by young people, inventors. So they're doing it, but they need to do it a lot more. It really is an emergency at this point, and I think that's why you see the poll numbers going down. That's
Very
why.
good analysis, I think, P-Dina. And it's also why we see this clash, I think, this increasing clash emerging between King Charles and Prince William, because, of course, Charles wants William to be doing more. And I think he probably wants William's children to be
Yeah.
doing more. But that's a red line for William. He doesn't want the children to be forced into anything before they're ready. And, of course, there is a desire for that. And so much of this is, of course, the fault of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who were always meant to be filling that role, within the British monarchy. That's literally what the plan was, for them to form this critical part of the British monarchy. But of course, we know what happened then, and it was unhappily ever after. I guess I would say, though, I'm not sure I mean, I definitely agree they used to have that popularity with the youth. I'm not sure they've maintained it really, though, because if you look at their commercial ventures, not really garnering much interest, nothing really youthful about Meghan's podcasts or a Netflix series. I think maybe they had that when they were an exciting new thing in the royal family that Beyonce was loving. Not sure they have it now, but P-Dina, brilliant analysis. If you want so much more of this, of course, you've got to subscribe to the wonderful P-Dina on YouTube, P-D-I-N-A. It is so good. All the best royal news. Thank you so much, P-Dina. And if you want access to our Royal Uncancelled after show, twice the length of what you've just watched, then sign up to my Substack. www.outspoken.live is the address. Paid monthly or annual subscribers get first access Monday to Friday to the Royal Uncancelled After Show with no advertising whatsoever. You can watch it first, live, on demand, whichever you prefer. Plus, Substack is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. It protects me from lawfare. We're a real community there, 50,000 strong. Come and join the party. You can message me direct. www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.